Per usual, that was bollocks. Afternoon, WestWorld. All right, year after year, I think I'll come out here and I do this little introduction. So, this weekend only, we're going to do something different. I'm going to read you a poem, what I wrote earlier. Why? Because you're special, that's why. Special needs. Right, bit of order, please. There once was a man called Brandon. His fans were loyal, but random. They followed his music with gusto. Many shows per year were a must-go. Now, WestWorld was an annual event, much drinking and singing, and money well spent. 48 hours of fun where old soldiers unite to reminisce and tell stories till late in the night. And then came that day that sent fear through the crowd. Old Brandon's keeled over, his heart's broken down. Major surgery, pills, potions and tubes were used to repair the ticker he abused. Now the road to recovery was a long, slow affair, but cash can be made with the smell of death in the air, said Liam. Now 30 years on, and tonight you will see an hour of magic from John Kirk and Stan Lee. So without further ado, and I'm glad to say, my old friend is back and he's ready to play. He's still the fucking governor. Kirk Brandon!
Shameful. Disgusting. I hate him. Everywhere I go he follows me around, passing me stupid fucking pieces of wood. I'll be free one day. I'll just point something out here. He did not visit me as I was trying to dock. Where were you, old friend? I noticed your absence. Having too much fun laughing at me trying to die, you idiot. Okay. In the interim, I've learned to read. So, friends, Romans, and countrymen, I come not to praise Brandon, but to bury him. That's what Mark Antony said. Huh? Shakespeare? Anybody? No? Okay. Richard Burton? Marlon Brando? Fucking hell. Cheerless bunch. Right. The whole concept of this piece of paper I have in my hand here is I've been trying to write the autobiography, the grimoire, and it's not like bit by bit and it all makes sense. Like most of my mind and my life, it doesn't make sense. So it's a bit like a stream of consciousness thing, like Virginia Woolf or something like that. If you're familiar with Virginia Woolf, I'm sure Vincent is. Wonderful poetry he wrote. Okay, so it goes bits and bits. I'm just going to do what it does. It just sort of dodges about. It's just sort of paragraphs and stuff. It's an insight into me, where I came from. Not that that really means anything, but something's quite funny. Something's a bit tearful, but mostly it's funny, I think. So, this first bit is kind of like about just, you know, taking out of it. And it's, we moved out of, I think we were in the East End at the time, we moved down to a place called South Wimbledon. And it was 18, I don't even remember the address now, 18 Beckett Close, SW19, South Wimbledon, right next to the tube. So, here we go. Speaking about my dad. How he did it, I don't know. But Dad got us moved to 18 Beckett Close, South Wimbledon, SW19. That confirms it, okay. A block of flat-roofed, red brick council flats, amongst several others similar, just along from South Wimbledon tube station on the Morden Road. We stayed living in the flats for about 3-4 years, and the standout memory whilst there is being seriously ill after an operation on me to remove my tonsil and adenoids that went very wrong, which was a surgical exercise operation for junior doctors. Unnecessary, but in them days, that's what they did. The Morden Hospital doctors had not stitched me up correctly, and I was bleeding to death, basically. Fortunately, when they sent the policeman to ask if he could give me a blood transfusion, my mother was in. I wonder if she had not been in, would they have still given me the blood? It was explained that they had to get consent beforehand in case we were Jehovah's Witnesses. This all took place in the run-up to my 8th birthday. There were 2 kids in the wards where I was who were true little sods. A horrible boy and a just as horrible girl. They'd go sneaking around at night and hit the other kids in the bollocks or face while they lay asleep in their beds. Perhaps it was Tory boy and Tory girl trying to get us up out of our beds so real people could have the beds instead. Why no one told the nursing staff, I don't know. It's all true. I have distinct memories of the metal kidney-shaped trays filling my blood and feeling frightened and anxious. It came out of my nose and mouth, I was choking. I pulled on some of this stuff coming out of my mouth, only to find that pulling on it hurt. It was kind of attached. The doctor said afterwards to my mum that they got me just in time. As I was being wheeled into the operating theatre to be re-stitched up, they gave me 3 knockout injections. I was determined not to succumb, as I thought I'd die if I did. To this day, it still leaves around a couple of feeling even thinking about that period. In my child's mind, immediately after the surgery, I was desperate to leave the hospital. I couldn't understand being left there, as it seemed to me. I was wrong in reality, as that to keep me in the monotonous situation post-op. Extreme anxiousness on my part. I wasn't seeming to be doing very well in the hospital afterwards, so 4 or 5 days later, Mum did come and carry me in her arms and took me home on the bus. I was too weak to walk. It was a relief to be gone and go home. My 8th birthday came, my parents got me my first push bike. My dad took me down to the yard and placed me upon it, but I was still too weak to make the pedals go round. I love the thing though. It's a postscript to my life, with the 4 times of major illness in my life. Rehab was done principally on a push bike. My mum had been extremely upset over the whole incident, but remained mostly quiet at the time and talking to me. I guess it's not to alarm me while I was on the mend. She said once that it took a very long time before I was right again and up and about. Looking back, this whole bungle to operation, hospital, blood transfusion experience was something that literally kicked the daylights out of me. At the time I started to have a fanciful notion that I was on the way out. Fortune smiled me as. Okay, moving on.